Hello, my name is John Nagel. Today I'm going to talk to you about one of my favorite hobbies, rock climbing. June 3rd, 2017, professional climber Alex Honnold free solo climbed up the 3,000-foot cliff face of the mountain El Capitan in Yosemite National Park. I learned about this achievement in National Geographic's documentary Free Solo. Ever since then, I've been hooked on climbing. Today I'm going to tell you about three of the most important aspects I've learned about rock climbing: safety, technique, and preparation. First, I'm going to talk to you about climbing safety. When you go climbing, you want to make sure that you're using all of your gear safely. To begin, you want to make sure that you have your harness on correctly. So to do this, you need to check your harness before and after you put it on. You want to check it to make sure your leg loops are oriented in the right direction and also that all of your straps are tightened. Next, you need to make sure you have tied your rope correctly to your harness. To do this, you check that you have tied your rope through both the waist loop and the leg loops. Then you double check your knots. The knot, you should have a double figure eight and 5 sets of 2 ropes stacked on top of each other. And also with the end of your rope, you want to tie that into a fisherman's knot. And you can check that by seeing if one side is shaped like an X and the other side looks like an equal sign. After you have double checked that you are properly tied in, you and your partner should both double check each other. The next important thing about safety is to make sure you're communicating with your partner. So before you start climbing, you want to say, if you're the one climbing, you want to say on belay, which is asking them if they're ready to hold you and belay you, and then they'll answer with belay on, which means that they're ready to go. The next climbing topic that I wanted to tell you about is technique. In climbing, there are two main techniques. There's static climbing and dynamic climbing. Static climbing is when you climb more slowly and keep a lot of points of contact with the wall. And this is kind of the classic style of rock climbing that you'll see more often in movies. And the other main climbing technique is dynamic climbing. This style of climbing is much faster, and climbers will a lot of times jump completely in the air and not be contacting the wall at all while they're climbing like this. When a climber does that, they call it a dyno move, which is short for dynamic. There are also a couple other important things about technique that I wanted to tell you about. One of them is footwork. When you place your foot on a hold, you want to make sure you are using the very tip of your foot. I actually have a climbing shoe here to show you. So you want to make sure that the tip is right on the hold, and that way you can stand up on your toe and get a little bit more reach to get a little higher. Another important rule to remember about climbing technique is to save your energy. You can do this by keeping your arms straight as much as possible. This way you can just hang instead of constantly using your arm muscles. And you should also focus on using your legs a lot, because your legs are a lot stronger and they won't get worn out as quickly as your arms will. The last topic I wanted to tell you about climbing is preparation. Climbing can be really hard physically, so it's important that you are really prepared before you go climbing. Before you go, you want to make sure that you stretch, and you want to stretch your legs and your back and your arms and your shoulders, and that will keep you from getting hurt, but also it makes it a lot easier to climb when you're a little more limber and stretched out. it's also important to make sure that you're taking care of yourself in between climbing sessions. So you can do this by exercising, or that's one of the ways. One of the best exercises to do is just chin ups, which are really a good one because you don't have to leave your room if you get a chin up bar. You don't have to go all the way to the gym. I've also noticed that getting a good night's sleep and eating plenty of food can be helpful ways to be prepared as well. And the last thing that you should do to make sure you're prepared is to double check that you are bringing all the right gear with you and that you have the right set of gear for the right type of climbing. So that's all I have to say about rock climbing. Thank you guys for listening to me talk about safety, technique, and preparation. And I hope you found it interesting. Thanks.